Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this performance of The Little Dancers, celebrating ede2's 15th anniversary. I'm so excited you guys are here. My name is Rachel Molinaro. I am the artistic director of ede2, which is the second company of the Evanston Dance Ensemble. This show has been an absolute dream of mine to put on stage based on how massive it is with so many elements. And I just want to do a really quick shout out to all the amazing collaborators who helped support this. First, I want to shout out my husband who's back there, Tim Corpus, who has made original music for this show. I want to say to Charlie and Daphne, who made the sets, Josie, who made the costumes, Kelsey, who was our narrator, and Charlotte in the back, who does beautiful lighting design. Thank you, Charlotte. I want to do a really quick shout out to a few people who I think all are here. So Olivia and Eliza and Hannah for supporting the dancers in rehearsal. And then thank you so much to the EDE board, the EDE staff, Studio 5, DCE, and all of our amazing sponsors. Please look on that back cover and say thank you to all those wonderful people who've supported this company, as well as some of the funders who've made this possible. One more thing, some of you know that this is my final season as the artistic director of ede2. I am extremely proud and so blessed to have worked with such amazing dancers, some who are standing right here backstage ready to go, and some who are sitting in the audience and in high school, and it's crazy to see you guys grown up. I just want to say thank you to every single one of the dancers and family members and audience members who've been so supportive of my artistic endeavors. Thank you for everything. It's been an absolute honor to create art for your lovely kids. So thank you so much for everything. Without further ado, thank you again for coming. Please make sure right now that you silence your cell phones. Please no photography or videography. We will take care of that for you. And it's time to blast off with The Little Dancer. Enjoy the show.
This is the pilot. She has just survived a plane crash in the middle of the desert. As the pilot emerges from the wreckage, luckily mostly unscathed, she finds that her beloved aircraft is an unrecognizable heap of metal in the middle of a lonely wasteland. But fortunately, this pilot is used to being alone and making the most of a sticky situation. While others in this world prefer to keep their feet on the ground and their eyes on the horizon, the pilot finds the clouds and the stars better company. In fact, an unusually bright light in the sky was what led the pilot into the air and subsequently crashing into the sand in the first place. The quiet rustle of blowing sand is all the pilot can hear as she quickly works to rebuild before running out of food and water. On the second day of rebuilding her plane, the pilot, who thought she was very much alone in this vast desert, was met with a small and surprising little voice.
Hi there! You gave me such a start. Where did you come from?
I've come from up there.
Up where? The sky?
Beyond your sky, and your clouds and your stars. There's so much to discover up there. I've traveled to many of them on my journey here.
The mysterious girl from the sky knelt down in the sand as the pilot continued working on her broken airplane. The girl handed over tools and bolts to the pilot, and she started talking about her little planet, which twirled among the stars like a little dancer. Her planet was no bigger than a house, and on it lived the girl and her best friend named Rose. And while the girl from the sky had such fun with her dear friend all these years, one day she grew bored of their small life and grew curious of what was beyond their twirling planet and who might live there.
I'm so tired of looking at the same rocks and the same trees all day long.
We could plant some new trees if you'd like.
No. I mean, I'm tired of how small my life is on this foreign planet. I've outgrown this place. What if there's a better world out there for me?
As the girl dreamed about the many new friends she'd meet in the worlds beyond hers, she did not notice Rose's growing sadness at her best friend's words.
If you must go, I will let you. Friends will let the ones they love follow their hearts. But I will miss you, my dear friend, and I'll keep an eye on the sky for your return.
But the little girl was not listening to Rose's words. She was busy building a rocket ship to start her new adventure. As she climbed into the ship, the girl shouted out, "Goodbye, little planet! Who knows if or when I shall return?" And without looking back at her best friend, the ship took off towards the vastness of space, and planets filled with new potential friends. Now, the first planet the girl visited was relatively small, but sparkling full of jewels. And as she approached the center of this new planet, there were seated 2 regal figures in shining thrones.
Who goes there? Identify yourself at once. I say, Your Majesty, I think it's one of my subjects. Why, you could be right, Your Majesty. My subjects has come to pay me homage. We are the rulers of this planet, which means we rule over all our subjects, and they love us for it.
These royals know nothing about friendship or love, thought the girl. Ruling over someone most definitely does not make them care for you. Her friend Rose never bossed her around. They were equal in their friendship. And with that, the girl from the sky bowed to the royals and left their planet behind. The second planet the girl visited was blinding. Every inch of the world was lit up by fluorescent street lamps and crammed with skyscrapers. She approached 2 suits, standing in front of one of the building's doorways.
Those numbers can't be correct. Have your team do a recount. I mean, I'll crunch them again, but it will cost you. Double this time. You should really upgrade your accounting system. Time is money, you know.
The girl ran as fast as she could away from that building, those greedy suits, and the bright lights. Everything they see has a price tag, thought the girl as she flew away. But I doubt they know how to actually find value. The third planet the girl visited was covered in shallow pools of glimmering water, and she encountered 3 figures staring intently at their reflections.
A perfect hair day. I'm envy of everyone in the world with such an exquisite hairstyle. But have you seen my skin today? I'm absolutely glowing. All natural too. I never use Aprox. I'm just born like this.
Oh, no, this poor creature. Thin lips, shallow eyes, small stature. Oh, how dreadful it must be for you.
Exactly. You might look at us and think how lucky we are to be us. We can be an inspiration for you.
That's what friends are for.
The vain ones primped and preened and told the girl how she could improve herself if she strove to be just like them. The girl from the sky looked at her reflection and thought, "My friend Rose never made me feel inferior. I think a true friend would never be as thoughtless as these 3. She was happy to get back on her ship and set course for another planet. The girl from the sky paused her story and looked back at the pilot. "All this talking is making me mighty thirsty," she said. "Can you spare something to drink?" The pilot stood up from under the plane where she was adjusting the engine and tentatively handed a canteen over. "Take small sips," said the pilot. "By my calculations, we only have enough water for another day or two. I need to fix this airplane fast, or we'll be in a bigger predicament than we are now." The girl drank, thanked the pilot, and then quietly went back to handing tools over until the sun was high and hot overhead. Suddenly, a spot of color over the horizon caught the girl's eye.
What's that over there?
Stop! Wait! Your eyes are playing tricks on you.
The girl's eyes were indeed playing tricks. But after being lost in the desert these past few days, it was hard for her to decipher what was true and not true anymore. For she ran towards what she thought was a giant field of red roses swaying gently in the middle of a barren desert. "Wake up! Wake up! What you're seeing isn't true," said the pilot. "It's a mirage, a trick of the light. I need to hurry up and finish this plane for both our sakes. Our hunger and thirst is already taking a toll." "Come," said the pilot, as she sat the girl under the shade of the airplane, for she knew that this mirage of roses must have made the girl think of her dear friend who she left behind. "Continue telling your story. It will help distract you from your rumbling stomach." The fourth planet she visited was covered in jagged mountaintops and lush forests. The girl from the sky had never seen such a landscape before, and excitedly started hiking towards the closest mountain peak, when she quickly came upon a cabin in the foothills.
Hello there. Welcome to Middle Mountain. We're the mountain rangers that care for these parts.
You're in for a real treat. Middle Mountain is the most beautiful place for hiking. Would you mind bringing back some pictures for us?
Don't look too confused. We need to keep an eye on this place. It's our job to know every rock face and every boulder.
Unfortunately for us, we're terrified of heights.
After returning with the photos she promised them, the girl from the sky said goodbye to the mountain rangers. She couldn't help feeling sad for them as she left their planet. Their hearts are in the right place, thought the girl. But everyone needs to be brave once in a while. The fifth planet the girl visited was cloaked in darkness. So dark that the girl could barely see the ground when landing her rocket ship, that she ended knocking a wheel clean off. As she looked for her missing part, the girl approached a small figure snoring on the ground.
I saw your rule roll this way. I'll go grab it for you.
The girl from the sky set to work lifting her rocket ship and waited for her sleepy friend to bring the missing wheel she promised. She waited 1 hour, then 2 hours, and then 2 more. But they never showed. The girl eventually found her curled around the rocket ship wheel, fast asleep. My friend Rose would never be so inconsiderate. And for a moment, the girl felt immense sadness as she thought of her old friend. She was all too happy to leave that planet and its drowsy inhabitant behind. The girl from the sky stepped out onto her 6th planet and noticed a pair of figures lighting and darkening a pair of street lanterns.
Every candle must be lit. It seems as though every time I light one, I spot another that's gone out. All candles must be dark. I must mess up this job. Wait, didn't I darken that one already? Always more work to be done. We can rest when our jobs are complete. What is life without a job anyway? We must do our duty at any cost.
The girl from the sky watched the 2 lamplighters flit back and forth over and over again, one lighting the candle while the other darkened them in a never-ending task. How curious, thought the girl. While I admire their passion, there is more to life than endless work. And with this thought, the girl was hit with immense homesickness as she recalled the games she and Rose used to play on their little planet, How they spent the day dancing and swimming and stargazing as two best friends should.
I want to go home, but I think I lost my way.
The girl from the sky had landed on Earth next, thinking its coloring looked like her own home planet. But her planetary adventure hit a bitter end when her spaceship broke into pieces at the edge of this very desert. The pilot pulled the girl into a tight embrace as she finished her story. "I'm glad we found each other, my friend," said the pilot. "We'll get out of the desert together. I swear it." The night was cool and quiet as the girl and the pilot rested beside the broken plane, when a sudden sandstorm rose from the horizon, sweeping the two new friends away from each other. As she walked through the desert, hoping to find the source of the voice on the wind, the girl stopped abruptly, and she stood face to face with a tiny red fox.
I've been waiting for you. Me? Yes, I've been waiting for you as long as I can remember. Everyone dreams of having their first friend.
You don't want me as a friend. I'll leave you behind and not even say goodbye.
If you left me, I'd miss you, but I'd be excited to see you when you return.
And so, the fox and the girl from the sky walked onward through the desert in search of the pilot. But after many hours in the hot sun and no food and water for days, the girl could walk no further.
Wake up! We can't stop yet. Wake up! I'll go find some help. Hey, pilot, over here! Sure you know where you're going? Just trust me, I'm like 99% sure she was there from here.
The fox and the pilot rushed to where the girl lay in the sand. After drinking from the pilot's canteen, the girl slowly revives her strength. "Thank you," said the girl. "I'm so lucky to have two kind and caring friends." After a few hours of resting, the pilot leads the fox and the girl from the sky back through the desert. And to her surprise, the girl notices that the airplane looks quite different from the last time she saw it.
It's a rocket ship. I found your crash site and worked hard to rebuild it with parts from my airplane. It's time for you to go home, both of you. There's a Rose up there somewhere who's watching the skies. But your plane. I'll miss you, my little friend. It's very hard to see your friends go.
And with a tight hug, the girl from the sky and her new fox climbed into the fixed-up spaceship and turned their eyes to the stars to find a little twirling planet with a friend who is waiting for them. And so ends this remarkable tale of the girl from the sky. As I sit here retelling it after all these years, I remember her as clearly as that first day in the desert. While the girl set off from her planet looking for adventure, she ended up learning about how we treat and care for others, how friendship connects us to those near and far, no matter where in the universe we might be. And I like to think that on every planet the girl visited, those interesting folk learned a little about who they are and who they might become. More considerate, more kind, more open, more joyful, more playful, and more brave. And as for me, I learned to embrace those around me, because you never know how much time you have with them. And while I miss my friend, and every so often I keep my eyes on the sky for a little bright light returning to Earth, my heart is full knowing that somewhere out there among the stars, a girl and her new fox land on their tiny planet, where Rose has been waiting to greet them all this time.